You know, I've always believed that wealth doesn't just happen overnight, and it certainly isn't about luck or some big break. Wealth is the result of the habits you build, your daily choices, your consistent actions, and most importantly, the discipline you cultivate over time. Think about it. Money isn't just a thing you earn or spend. It's a mirror that reflects who you are inside. If you're careless with $10, you can be sure you'll be careless with $10,000. Money simply magnifies your character. It reveals your discipline or lack thereof, your patience or impulsiveness, your mindset, whether you're a spender or a saver, a planner, or someone who drifts through life hoping things will work out. I remember early in my journey when I was just starting out and money was tight. I realized that I couldn't wait until I had a big income to start being responsible. No, it had to begin with what I had, no matter how little. I made it a habit to track every single expense, no matter how small. That cup of coffee, that pack of cigarettes, that extra lunch, everything went on my list. It was eye-opening. I saw how quickly small, unnoticed expenses piled up and chipped away at my resources. But even more importantly, this simple act trained my mind to be conscious, intentional, and disciplined. I also committed to saving at least 10% of whatever came in. It didn't matter if it was $20 or $200. I put that 10% aside before spending a single cent. It was a sacred rule. Pay yourself first. This small habit became the foundation of a financial mindset. Over time, saving wasn't just something I did, it became part of who I was. That kind of discipline transcends money. It builds self-respect, confidence, and control. The beauty of these habits is that they're scalable. The same principles that work for $10 work for $10,000. So many people fall into the trap of waiting for the right time to get serious about money, thinking they need a big paycheck or a perfect plan. The truth is, wealth begins not with money, but with habits. Your bank account will reflect those habits as surely as a shadow follows the body. The person you become through your habits, steady, disciplined, mindful, is the person who attracts wealth. It's like planting a seed. You don't see a tree on day one, but if you water it consistently, over time it grows into a mighty oak. I've seen it in my own life, and I've witnessed it in thousands of others who have chosen to commit to small, positive financial habits instead of chasing quick fixes or lucky breaks. So, start with what you have today. Track every expense, save that 10%, and develop the discipline to stick with it. Don't underestimate the power of small habits. They are the architects of your financial future. Remember, wealth is not about how much you make, it's about how you behave with what you have. Build the habits first, and wealth will follow naturally. When it comes to building true wealth, there's a simple but powerful principle that separates those who prosper from those who struggle. The difference between buying assets and buying liabilities. I've often said, rich people buy things that make money, while poor people buy things that drain it. That may sound straightforward, but it's a lesson many never fully grasp, and it changes everything. I remember when I first started learning about money, I used to fall into the trap of thinking that wealth meant owning fancy cars, big houses, or the latest gadgets. I thought that having all those things made me successful. But what I didn't realize was that these things were not building my wealth. They were slowly eating it away. Every expensive car that depreciated the moment I drove it off the lot, every gadget that became obsolete within months, every luxury that came with a monthly bill, these were liabilities. They took my money and gave me nothing in return. The wealthy, on the other hand, have a different mindset. They look at money not as something to be spent on fleeting pleasures, but as a tool to acquire assets, things that put money back into their pockets. An asset might be a rental property generating monthly income, stocks paying dividends, a business that operates without constant input, or even intellectual property that earns royalties. The key question they ask before making any purchase is, will this grow in value or will it shrink? This mindset is crucial. It's about thinking long term. and understanding the true financial freedom comes not from how much you earn, but from how much your money works for you. I recall a moment when I had to make a choice between upgrading my car and investing that money into a small business opportunity. It wasn't easy because the desire for immediate gratification is strong. But I chose the business investment. Over time, that decision paid off far more than a flashy car ever could. The practical step here is simple but profound. Before you spend on anything expensive, pause and ask yourself if it's going to grow your wealth or shrink it. If it doesn't bring income or appreciate in value, it's likely a liability disguised as a want. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy life or buy nice things, but the order of priorities must be clear. Assets come first because they build the foundation. Liabilities come after, and only if there is room without jeopardizing your financial health. I encourage you to look at your spending habits through this lens. Challenge yourself to buy assets, things that generate income, increase in value, or reduce your expenses in the long run. This shift in perspective changes everything. It turns money from a fleeting pleasure into a powerful tool for freedom and growth. Wealth is built by those who understand this difference and act accordingly. So, before your next big purchase, ask, will this grow or will it shrink? Let your money work hard for you, and you'll find that freedom follows naturally. When it comes to building wealth, the way you think about time makes all the difference. Most people are trapped in a mindset that focuses on the immediate, the next paycheck, the weekend, or that one big purchase that brings instant satisfaction. But those who build lasting wealth, they think in decades, not days. Their vision is far-reaching, extending 10, 20, or even 30 years into the future. This long-term perspective isn't just a mindset. It's a fundamental philosophy that changes how they live, spend, save, and invest every single day. I want to share a personal experience that shaped my own understanding of this principle. Early in my life, I was caught up in short-term thinking. I would live for the moment, make decisions based on what felt good right then, and chase after immediate pleasures. It seemed natural because that's what everyone around me did. But what I didn't realize was that this kind of thinking was keeping me stuck. No matter how much I earned, I was never getting ahead because my eyes were fixed on what was right in front of me. I was planning for Friday night rather than the years ahead. Everything changed the day I sat down and wrote out where I wanted to be financially 10 years from that moment. I didn't just think about vague hopes or dreams. I got specific. What kind of lifestyle did I want? What savings and investments would I need? What habits would I have to build? This simple act of writing down my goals gave me a roadmap, a clear destination that my daily actions could align with. Suddenly, every dollar I saved, every expense I cut, and every effort I made to increase my knowledge about money had purpose. It was no longer about spending on fleeting pleasures. It was about building something that would last. Thinking in decades means understanding that wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires patience and persistence. You have to be willing to plant seeds and tend to them, knowing the harvest won't come immediately but will multiply over time. This is the power of compound growth, both financially and personally. The small decisions you make every day add up, and over years they transform your life in ways you might never have imagined when you're focused only on the short term. Here's something practical you can do right now. Take a moment to write down exactly where you want to be financially by the year 2035. Don't just say, I want to be rich. Be clear. Do you want to be debt-free? Own property? Have a retirement fund that allows you to live comfortably? Build a business? Create streams of passive income? Write it all down, because clarity gives your mind a target. Once you have that clear vision, reverse engineer what it takes to get there. What must you save monthly? What investments should you learn about? What skills or knowledge will help you increase your income? What expenses do you need to cut or avoid? This isn't about wishful thinking or hoping for a lucky break. It's about discipline, planning, and deliberate action. When your future goal is clear, your present decisions become easier. Saying no to unnecessary spending isn't deprivation. It's smart strategy. Saying yes to investing in your education isn't extra work. It's essential preparation. Each small step taken daily compounds into momentum that will carry you forward. Remember, the wealthy don't just live for the weekend. They live for the decades. They understand that wealth creation takes time and consistent effort. Your financial freedom isn't the result of a single lucky investment or a sudden windfall. It's the natural outcome of steady, focused habits built over many years. So, don't let yourself get caught in short-term thinking. Shift your mindset today. Plan for the decade, take action today, and watch your financial future unfold because you decided to think beyond the immediate and invest in what really matters, your future self. Most people focus only on their paycheck, as if the size of that single number defines their financial health. But here's a truth that few fully grasp. What you own matters far more than what you earn. Your paycheck is just the starting point. It's the fuel you get every month, but it's the assets and liabilities you accumulate over time that determine your true financial position. Wealth is not just income, it's net worth. It's the difference between what you own and what you owe. When I was younger, I didn't pay attention to this. I looked at my paycheck and thought, if I bring home enough, I'm doing okay. But then I realized that despite earning more at certain points, my financial picture wasn't improving. Why? Because I wasn't tracking the bigger picture. I was ignoring debts piling up, and I wasn't keeping tabs on the assets I had built or failed to build. One day, a mentor asked me, "Do you know your net worth?" I had to admit I didn't. That question changed everything. Tracking your net worth means listing every asset you have, cash, savings, investments, property, even things like valuable equipment or intellectual property. Then, list every debt, mortgages, loans, credit cards, any obligations. When you subtract your debts from your assets, the number you get is your net worth. The goal is to watch that gap widen over time. If it's growing, you're building real wealth. If it's shrinking, it's a warning sign to adjust your habits. This monthly exercise is not just about numbers. It creates awareness and accountability. When you see your net worth rising, you gain confidence and motivation to keep going. When it declines, you confront reality and take steps to correct course before the situation worsens. Without tracking, you're navigating in the dark. Here's the practical step. Each month, take time to write down your net worth. It can be simple. Use a notebook, a spreadsheet, or an app. List assets on one side, debts on the other. Calculate the difference. This habit builds financial discipline and gives you a clearer sense of control over your money, far beyond just focusing on your paycheck. Because true wealth isn't about how much you earn in a month. It's about how much you keep and grow over time. When you track your net worth regularly, you're not just managing money, you're managing your future. And that's how financial freedom begins. You see, working for wages will only take you so far. It feeds you, sure. It pays the bills, puts food on the table, and keeps a roof over your head. But if you want to break free from the endless cycle of trading time for money, you need to own equity. Ownership is what sets you apart from the crowd. It's the difference between surviving paycheck to paycheck and building lasting freedom. I remember when I first understood this principle. Early in my career, I was grinding away, working long hours, hoping each paycheck would bring me closer to financial independence. But the truth was, no matter how much I worked, the clock was always ticking. I was exchanging hours for dollars, and when the hour stopped, so did the income. That's when I realized wages alone aren't the path to wealth. Ownership, on the other hand, creates a different story. When you own a piece of a business, a share in stocks, or intellectual property, you're investing in something that earns money even when you're not working. This is the true power of equity. It works for you around the clock, building wealth in the background. It's like planting a tree that grows fruit year after year, no matter if you're tending it every day. The practical step is simple but powerful. Begin looking for ways to own. Buy stocks in companies that have a track record of growth and dividends. Consider starting a side business that can eventually run without you. Maybe it's a small rental property, a digital product, or some form of intellectual property you can create. These aren't just investments, they are tools to free your time and multiply your income. It doesn't require millions to start. Even small shares of ownership can grow over time, especially if you commit to learning and consistent action. The key is shifting your mindset from being an employee to being an owner. When you think in terms of ownership, you stop working just for money and start building assets that work for you. Remember, wages feed you. Ownership frees you. That freedom is what creates real wealth and true financial independence. Let me tell you something crucial. If you want to change your financial destiny, you must stop taking money advice from broke people. It sounds harsh, but it's true. You can't learn freedom from someone who's still in chains. When you listen to people who haven't yet figured out how to manage their money, who live paycheck to paycheck, you're only reinforcing the habits and mindset that keep you stuck. The philosophy is simple. You become the average of the people you learn from. If you want to master your money, you need to seek out mentors, books, and teachers who have already built the kind of financial freedom you desire. Study investors who understand how money works, entrepreneurs who've built lasting businesses, and thinkers who approach wealth with discipline and patience. I remember the shift that happened when I began reading financial books and listening to mentors who had walked the path before me. Suddenly, I was learning strategies rooted in reality and proven over time, not just opinions or desperation. It gave me clarity and confidence, and more importantly, it changed my mindset. So, here's the practical step. Seek knowledge intentionally. Don't just hang around those who complain about money or live paycheck to paycheck. Instead, surround yourself with ideas, people, and resources that challenge you and push you forward. Read at least one book a month on personal finance or business. Attend seminars, listen to podcasts from successful investors. Find mentors or coaches who can guide you based on their own success. Remember, freedom is learned from those who have it. Chains are broken by following footsteps that have already led to the exit. If you want to escape financial struggle, upgrade where you get your advice and education. It will change everything. Understanding the language of money is like learning to read the map before you start your journey. Money is not just paper or numbers. It operates under rules and laws, rules that most people never take the time to learn. And because of this, many stay broke, confused by the system, and unable to make their money work for them. But those who study these rules gain a powerful advantage. They understand how money flows, multiplies, and how to protect what they earn. I remember when I first started to study money seriously. It wasn't just about earning more, but about understanding what happens after that first dollar lands in my hand. Taxes, investing, compounding, markets. Each piece of knowledge was like unlocking a new door. I learned that ignoring taxes means giving away a large portion of my hard-earned income without realizing it. I saw how compounding, the power of earning interest on interest, turns small amounts into fortunes over time. The market, with all its ups and downs, became less intimidating once I understood its patterns and principles. This knowledge transformed my approach. Instead of fearing financial complexity, I embraced it. I didn't just work for money, I made money work for me. And it all started with learning the language of money. It's like any language. You can't speak fluently without study and practice. The more you learn, the better you become at making decisions, spotting opportunities, and avoiding costly mistakes. So here's your practical step. Make financial literacy your secret weapon. Start reading about taxes, how deductions and credits work. Understand investing basics and how compounding grows your wealth silently over years. Follow markets to see how they behave, but don't get swayed by fear or hype. Take time each week to learn one new financial concept. This isn't just knowledge, it's power. When you become fluent in the language of money, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the master of your financial future. Don't let ignorance hold you back. Learn, grow, and watch how your money begins to work smarter for you every single day. Wealth is rarely built overnight, and the foundation of lasting financial success lies in the ability to delay gratification. This is one of the most powerful secrets that separates those who struggle financially from those who achieve true freedom. It's not about how much money you make. It's about what you choose to do with it, especially when the temptation to spend is strong. The millionaire mindset embraces patience, understanding that sacrificing a little comfort today leads to a lifetime of independence and peace tomorrow. When I first started my journey, I faced the same challenges many do. The allure of immediate rewards was strong. The new clothes, the fancy dinners, the gadgets that promise status and happiness. But over time, I learned a crucial lesson. Those fleeting pleasures cost far more than just money. They cost the future you. Every dollar spent on something that depreciates or doesn't generate income is a dollar that delays your path to financial freedom. I developed a personal rule that changed everything for me. No luxury purchases until my investments could pay for them forever. This wasn't about deprivation. It was about strategy. Instead of spending money on things that lose value, I committed myself to investing in assets that grow, that generate income while I sleep, and that build my financial foundation. When your assets are earning enough to cover your lifestyle, you've crossed the threshold into true wealth. Consider this, the average person often falls into the trap of spending whatever money comes in, sometimes even borrowing to maintain a lifestyle that impresses others but doesn't build security. The wealthy, on the other hand, train themselves to postpone pleasure. They don't deny themselves happiness, but they make their happiness dependent on freedom, not on possessions. This mindset creates resilience. It allows them to withstand setbacks and continue growing their wealth over time. Practically speaking, you can apply this today. Make a rule for yourself that you won't buy luxury items, expensive vacations, or status symbols until the income from your investments can cover those costs indefinitely. If you want that new car or a bigger house, first focus on building your assets. Stocks, real estate, businesses, that generate steady income. When those income streams can pay for your desires, then you can enjoy them without worry or debt. This discipline may feel uncomfortable initially. It's a challenge to watch others spend freely while you hold back. But remember, every time you delay gratification, you are planting seeds that will grow into financial freedom. The temporary discomfort you feel today is an investment in a future where money works for you, not the other way around. In the end, wealth is a long game. It's not about instant rewards, but about steady, thoughtful decisions that build lasting value. By mastering the art of delayed gratification, you free yourself from the endless cycle of wanting and never having enough. You create a life where your money serves your dreams and you live on your own terms. That is the true power of patience and discipline in wealth building. Let me tell you something crucial about money. Relying on a single paycheck is one of the biggest traps you can fall into. It creates a false sense of security, but it's a fragile foundation. What happens if that job disappears? If the economy shifts? If your health takes a hit? You suddenly realize how vulnerable you really are. True financial freedom comes from building multiple streams of income so that even if one dries up, others keep flowing. Early in my life, I understood this lesson the hard way. I was working long hours pushing for commissions, but the more I depended on that one source of income, the more anxious I became. Then I started exploring ways to earn outside of my job. A small side hustle, investing in dividend-paying stocks, even a modest rental property. These were not huge at first, but each created a new channel of money coming in. The power of multiple income streams is that they don't require you to trade every hour for $1. Instead, your money begins to work for you. Building multiple income streams is a mindset shift. You stop thinking like an employee whose time equals money. You begin to think like an entrepreneur or investor who creates value in many ways. Even if you're starting with very little, You can begin by using your skills or passions to generate side income, then reinvest that into assets that grow over time. Practically, you might start with something simple, a freelance gig, a small online business, or purchasing dividend stocks. Over time, add real estate or intellectual property. The key is consistency and reinvestment. Let your side income compound and multiply, and watch how your financial foundation strengthens. Remember, multiple streams aren't about working harder. They're about working smarter. When you diversify your income, you reduce risk and open doors to new opportunities. You build resilience against economic downturns and personal setbacks. You create a life where money flows to you from different directions, freeing you from the anxiety of relying on just one paycheck. So take this step today. Look around your life. What skills or resources do you have? How can you turn them into additional income? Start small, be consistent, and never underestimate the power of multiple income streams. That's where true freedom begins. Let me share a truth that many never realize until it's too late. Most people sabotage their own financial progress by upgrading their lifestyle every time they get a raise. It's a sneaky trap. You get a little more money, and suddenly your expenses stretch to match or even exceed that increase. Instead of building wealth, you just inflate your lifestyle, and before you know it, you're right back where you started, or worse. I've seen it time and time again. People finally get a raise or earn a little more, and their first instinct is to buy a bigger car, dine out more often, or move into a nicer place. These are not bad things in themselves, but when you let your lifestyle creep up with every raise, you never build a surplus, you never create a financial cushion. The raise simply disappears, swallowed by new bills and habits. It's like running on a treadmill that speeds up but never gets you closer to your goal. The secret is to lock your lifestyle in place while your income rises. When you get a raise, don't immediately spend it. Keep living on the same amount you were before the raise for at least a year. That extra money, put it to work, invest it, save it, use it to build assets. This habit builds discipline, and it helps you see what real progress feels like. I remember when I first started earning more, I forced myself to live on the same budget I had at my lowest earning days. It wasn't always easy. The temptation to spend more was strong. But by locking down my lifestyle and investing the difference, I watched my savings grow, my assets multiply, and my confidence soar. This isn't about deprivation, it's about vision. You're planting seeds for a future harvest. That extra money becomes the foundation of your financial freedom, not a ticket to short-term pleasure. And when you finally decide to upgrade your lifestyle, you'll do it from a place of strength, not stress. So here's the practical step. Next time your income goes up, commit to living the same way for 12 months. Funnel the difference into investments or savings. This simple discipline will transform your financial life. Keep your lifestyle locked, let your income rise, and watch how your wealth begins to grow quietly but powerfully. This is how financial freedom is built, one disciplined choice at a time. Time is the most precious currency you have, more valuable than money, because once it's gone, you can never get it back. You see, wealth is not just about dollars and cents. It's about time, the raw material from which all riches are crafted. If you waste your hours on distractions, meaningless chatter, or endless scrolling, you're effectively throwing away your fortune before it even has a chance to grow. When I was younger, I often underestimated how important time management truly was. I worked hard, yes, but I also wasted many hours on things that didn't move me forward. It wasn't until I started treating time as money, treating every minute like a valuable dollar, that my life began to change. I began auditing my day, paying close attention to how I spent my hours. Where was my time really going? Was it helping me build, learn, or create? Or was it lost in habits that brought no real return? The truth is, every minute lost to distraction is a missed opportunity, whether it's endless television or idle gossip. These things steal your most valuable asset. But when you take control and cut out what doesn't serve you, suddenly you have hours of extra time. time you can invest in reading books that expand your mind, developing new skills, working on your business, or simply planning your financial future. That's how fortunes are built, not just by working harder, but by working smarter with your time. Here's a practical step. Start by auditing your day. Write down everything you do for 3 days straight. Be honest. You might be shocked at how much time slips away unnoticed. Then choose 1 or 2 distractions to cut out. Replace that time with activities that push you closer to your goals. It might be reading for 30 minutes, learning about investments, or creating a product. Remember, money will always follow time well spent. Protect your time like it's money, because it is. Waste your hours, and you waste your chance to build true wealth. But manage your time wisely, and you unlock the power to change your life forever. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Yet relying solely on willpower is like trying to hold back a river with your bare hands. Eventually, it wears down. The truth is, willpower is a fleeting force. It fluctuates with our moods, stress, and circumstances. That's why the most successful people don't depend on willpower alone. They create unbreakable rules that guide their financial behavior no matter what. These aren't suggestions or vague intentions. They are clear, hard lines that protect their money and future. Early in my journey, I realized that vague promises to save more or spend less didn't stick. I would start strong but falter when temptation came knocking. So, I began crafting rules, simple, non-negotiable principles that became part of who I was. For example, I made it a rule to always save a fixed percentage of my income first before paying any bills or spending a dime. That rule removed the debate every month. Saving was automatic, not optional. I never touched my investment funds because they were meant to grow, not to be raided when times got tough. And I never borrowed money to satisfy wants, only needs. This rule kept me from falling into the trap of debt for temporary pleasure. Creating these rules changes the game. It moves your financial discipline from a fragile state of motivation to a sturdy system that works even when you're tired, distracted, or emotionally vulnerable. You remove decision fatigue and impulsive spending because the rules do the work for you. Instead of asking yourself, should I spend this? The answer is already clear. Here's a practical step. Write down 3 financial rules you will never break. Make them simple and specific, such as, I save 10% first. I never use credit cards for wants, or I review my budget weekly. Post them somewhere visible and remind yourself daily. Over time, these rules become habits, your financial backbone. Remember, money discipline is not about strength in the moment. It's about systems that hold you steady over a lifetime. Rules don't fade. Willpower does. Build rules and you build wealth. I remember early in my career, I was tempted to show off whenever I made a bit of money. New car, fancy clothes, expensive dinners. It felt good at the moment, but it didn't build lasting wealth. Then I met people who lived quietly, saved consistently, and invested wisely. They weren't chasing admiration, they were building legacies. Their homes weren't filled with trophies or flashy things, but their bank accounts and investments told a powerful story of discipline and foresight. The real work happens behind the scenes, making smart investments, reinvesting your profits, and letting time do its magic. When you resist the urge to flaunt and instead focus on growing your capital quietly, you give your money a chance to multiply without interruption. Wealth that's loud is often fragile. Wealth that's quiet is resilient. Here's what I suggest. Keep your financial wins private. Invest in assets that grow. Reinvest your earnings. And don't rush to show the world. Let your success speak for itself years from now. When people ask how you got there, you'll have a story of steady progress, patience, and sound decisions, not empty bragging. Remember, wealth built quietly lasts a lifetime. It doesn't need a crowd. It only needs consistency and time. As we draw this conversation to a close, I want you to take a moment and reflect deeply on everything we've discussed. Financial freedom is not some elusive dream reserved for the few lucky or the young. It is a skill, a discipline, and a way of life accessible to anyone willing to make the decision to change. Remember, wealth is not a destination. It's a journey, and it begins with the small steps you take right now. Too many people wander through life, caught in the cycle of working hard but never truly getting ahead. They trade hours for dollars, live paycheck to paycheck, and chase after instant gratification, all the while wondering why the money never seems to last. The answer lies not in luck or opportunity, but in mindset and habits. It is about building a foundation that supports financial growth and stability, a foundation constructed through consistent action, wisdom, and patience. You've heard it before. Money magnifies who you are. If you're careless with a few dollars, you'll be careless with millions. If you struggle to save a small percentage, you'll struggle even more as your income grows. Wealth is the natural result of small, smart choices made daily over time. You can't build a mansion overnight, but you can lay one brick at a time, steadily and deliberately. Building habits before wealth is not just good advice. It's the only way to lasting success. Begin by tracking every expense, saving a portion of your income, no matter how small, and practicing discipline. These habits will train you to respect money and control it instead of letting it control you. As you do this, your confidence grows. And with confidence comes power over your financial future. Owning assets rather than liabilities is another cornerstone of true wealth. The rich buy things that make money. The poor buy things that drain it. Before making any purchase, ask yourself, will this grow in value or shrink? This question separates the spender from the investor. An asset could be a rental property, a stock, or even knowledge and skills that generate income. When you focus on acquiring assets, your money starts to work for you, not the other way around. Thinking in decades, not days, is vital. Most people plan for short-term pleasures, a Friday night out or the latest gadget. But the wealthy look ahead 10, 20, even 30 years, imagining the life they want and working backwards to figure out what must be done today. Write down where you want to be financially in 2035 and then reverse engineer your plan. What habits, investments, and sacrifices do you need to make now? Planning for the long term creates the vision and discipline necessary to achieve it. Tracking your net worth rather than just your paycheck is a simple but powerful shift. It's not how much you make, but what you own that truly matters. Make it a habit to list every asset and every debt monthly. Watch the gap widen as you build wealth or close it if it's shrinking. This clarity gives you control. It reveals what's working and what needs attention. Without this, you're flying blind. Owning equity rather than just trading effort for wages is what separates financial freedom from financial struggle. Wages feed you for today, but ownership frees you for a lifetime. This could mean buying stocks, starting a business, or owning a share of something that continues to generate income even when you're not working. Your goal should be to create streams of income that work for you 24/7. One of the most important lessons is to stop taking money advice from broke people. You can't learn freedom from someone in chains. Surround yourself with mentors, books, and communities that inspire and teach you how to build what you want. Study investors, entrepreneurs, and those who have successfully walked the path you aspire to take. Their mindset and habits are your blueprint. Learning the language of money is crucial. Money has rules about taxes, compounding, debt, and markets. Most people stay broke because they don't bother to learn these laws. Make financial literacy your secret weapon. Read one new thing each week about how money works, and over time, your understanding will compound just like your investments. Delay gratification like a millionaire. Wealth is built by those who trade a little comfort today for much greater freedom tomorrow. Make a rule. No luxury purchases until your investments can pay for them forever. This discipline separates those who live paycheck to paycheck from those who live life on their own terms. Build multiple income streams. Relying on one paycheck is a trap. Freedom comes from diversity. Start a side hustle, invest in dividend stocks, buy rental property, or create something that earns while you sleep. Multiple streams create stability and growth. Keep your lifestyle locked even as your income rises. Most people go broke by upgrading their lifestyle every time they get a raise. Instead, keep living the same way for at least a year when your income increases. Invest the difference and watch your wealth grow silently in the background. Protect your time like it's your most valuable asset. Time is the raw material of wealth. Audit your day, cut distractions, and use that freed up time to learn, build, and create. Wealthy people protect their hours fiercely because they understand that every minute wasted is potential money lost. Set money rules you never break. Willpower fades, but rules don't. Create hard lines. Always save first. Never touch investments. Don't borrow for wants. These rules become your shield against impulse and distraction. And finally, build wealth quietly. Real wealth is built silently with discipline and patience, not noise and flash. Invest privately, reinvest profits, and let your success speak for itself years later. Now, I want you to hear this clearly. All the knowledge, all the ideas in the world will not help you unless you act. Knowledge without action is just theory, but knowledge with action becomes power. It's time for reflection and decision. Pause and ask yourself, where am I now financially? What habits are holding me back? What is one small step I can take today to start building my financial future?